Fallen Angels? Welcome back. I'm gonna do another reaction video. I want to thank you all for subscribing. If you do enjoy these type of videos and you like the transition I'm making on the channel, I'm trying to switch it up. Don't worry, there still will be Bozo Chronicles and stuff like that in story time. But for a little while, I'm gonna switch it up and just do reacting to TikTok videos, uh, police cam footage and stuff like that. And I really love the fact that you guys are all commenting and stuff. If you notice, I reply to everybody. At the very least, a heart and a thumbs up, but I do reply to everybody. And I finally broke the record, for 80,000 views. So that made me happy. I'm 6 subs minus the next milestone for 600 subs. So if you can hit it, I just need 6 more, man, and I'd really appreciate it. Um, so here we go. I'm about to start this.
No, these are the people who knew too much and were silenced. Michael Jackson, 25th of June, 2009. It's said that Michael uncovered secrets about a dark network involving high-ranking politicians and minors. The official version states he died from an overdose while trying to sleep that night. But how credible is that explanation? Barnaby Jack, 25th of July, 2013. This famous hacker shocked the world when, during a conference, he demonstrated how some could manipulate pacemakers to cause clean, undetectable deaths. Just days later, Barnaby was found dead in his apartment. A simple coincidence, or was he silenced for what he knew? Daphne Caruana Galizia, 16th of October, 2017. This investigative journalist exposed secrets about the elites and the controversial Panama Papers. Her research placed her in direct conflict with powerful figures. Shortly afterwards, a bomb in her car ended her life. Is it really just a coincidence that all these people met such fates, or did they uncover something they were never meant to know? But what do you think, Comet Silence? If you want me to keep exposing the hidden truth...
So, ChatGPT, I recently heard that Donald Trump was invited by the Jewish Sanhedrin to an international divine court in Israel. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct. The nascent Sanhedrin invited Donald Trump to support the creation of an international divine court based on the 7 Noahide laws.
Ah, yes, the 7 Noahide laws. We find this in the Jewish Talmud, correct?
Yes, the 7 Noahide laws are derived from Jewish tradition and are found in the Talmud.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the consequences for breaking one of these Noahide laws would be capital punishment. Is that correct?
In ancient interpretations found in the Talmud, breaking the Noahide laws is described as warranting capital punishment. However, these interpretations are not reflective of modern practices.
But according to Sanhedrin 57A, that capital punishment is decapitation, correct?
Yes. In Talmud Sanhedrin 57A, decapitation is mentioned as a form of capital punishment for breaking the Noahide laws.
Now, the first Noahide law would be, thou shalt not commit idolatry, correct?
Yes. The prohibition of idolatry is one of the 7 Noahide laws.
Now, under Jewish beliefs, committing idolatry would be the worshiping of Jesus Christ. Is that correct?
In traditional Jewish belief, worshiping any entity other than God is considered idolatry. This perspective includes the Christian worship of Jesus.
I understand. Now, if we was to compare U.S. legislation 102-14 to the 7 Noahide laws, these are practically the same thing, correct?
Actually, Public Law 102 acknowledges the 7 Noahide laws as ethical principles, but doesn't establish them as law. They share some values, but they're not identical or legally enforceable in the U.S.
But Donald Trump has been invited to a divine court to establish these ethical principles internationally, correct?
Yes. The nascent Sanhedrin invited Donald Trump to support the creation of an international divine court based on the 7 Noahide laws.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, ChatGPT.
You're welcome. If you need anything else, just let me know.
Wow.
This is the most chilling thing you'll hear about 2025. Remember the time traveler who predicted the COVID-19 pandemic? They called him crazy, but you won't believe what he says happens next. Drew Curtis claims that Elon Musk and President-elect Donald Trump will have a major fallout. He says there's a near 100% chance that Trump will throw Musk under the bus. Imagine two of the most controversial figures in modern history clashing. And what happens next? Curtis warns, the Menendez brothers, yes, the infamous siblings convicted of murdering their parents, will walk free in 2025. Recent legal reviews could lead to their parole after decades behind bars. Can you imagine the chaos and fear this could unleash? And then there's the climate crisis. He says that 2025 will be the hottest year ever recorded, with the most devastating hurricane season in history. Entire cities could be destroyed. Millions of lives could be at risk. What if he's right? What if 2025 changes everything? Save this video to remember these unsettling warnings, because this can affect us all.
If you think that this is a simulation that we're living in, you need to see this. So it's a video going around of a guy who said he saw the sun and the sky glitch at the same time. So this guy's on a farm around 6 or 7 a.m. scouting for turkeys. In the video, he said between the farm and the sky it looked beautiful, so he was about to take a video. And then this happened. Look at this shit. Listen to this.
So I'm out here at the farm scouting for turkeys.
Tell me what y'all think this is.
Between 6:55 and 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, I'm just going to take a good video. The sky's really pretty. The farm will look really pretty.
Just like I said.
And as I'm taking this video, the sky done something weird. Like it glitched.
Listen.
My phone caught it. I don't know what it is.
What was it?
It's weird, for sure.
What was it?
I'll show you guys the video. Check it out. Tell me what you think.
Shit is crazy.
It's kind of weird.
Look up there. Look at that shit. Look, it's blinking. Slow motion. Watch the video in slow-mo. That shit blinked. That shit blinked. What the hell is that? And I was saying to myself, it could have just been the phone that he was using. It could have been the distance he was. But that don't look right. What that looks like to me, though, is like something just turned off and on. Some people really believe that we're living in a simulation.
Ooh.
And let's just say we are, allegedly.
2025
keep revealing shit. I wonder what's going to happen next. Pay attention.
Shout outs to that guy.
So something I think the government hid from us that they're gonna let us know back in the future is that they did something, whether it was on purpose or by accident, that caused all these Mandela effects.
The Mandela effects is crazy. Ain't no way I remember something my whole life and then it's not.
It's not real.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the freaking Boots popsicle from the ice cream truck?
Yeah.
There was no
I
Boots
do.
popsicle.
Wait,
the image
no,
in your
yes,
mind.
it was.
I'm telling you, bruh. That was probably the Sonic one.
No, I ate the Boots one.
I remember it
There
too,
was
but
a
yo, I'm
Boots
telling you, they did
popsicle.
something. I don't know what they did. Look, bro, I have a new Mandela that's gonna blow your mind, bruh. Where did they teach us our heart was located?
In the left side.
The left side, right? Like that's why when we do the Pledge of Allegiance, we put our hand on our heart. The heart is not on your left side.
Where is it?
It's in the middle of your chest.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, bro. Look it up.
No, it's what the. Since when?
Hey, bro.
Even the president that died recently, Jimmy Carter,
Yeah.
and Ben died, bruh.
No, I don't think so.
I remember reading an article, bruh. He died at 98, bruh. I remember him dying at 98.
Really?
And then now he just died at 100. I'm not tripping, bro. I remember Jimmy Carter dying at 98 years old, bro.
How did you manage to obtain the classified Russian UAP documents, and how did you get them back in the United States?
Well, I met this Russian physicist who was in the United States
And I want to clarify that. I can't even take a...
Just to interrupt, that's the guy that did the what's that guy? The alien guy. The guy who about the alien ships, he worked on them. Well, he did the interview on them with the other guy. He originally broke the story. This guy right here. You guys know who he is. I just can't think right now.
I think of Honey home on my airplane when I fly back to Tennessee.
Yeah,
So
I did something pretty dumb.
And I'm bitter about it.
Bob Lazar. He broke the Bob Lazar story years ago.
But go ahead.
I did something kind of dumb. I met with these officials who, you know, during that time period, Glasnost, Perestroika, the Russians were trying to open up to the world, and I saw it as a window of opportunity, and it was. And we were able to talk these folks into providing us information that otherwise we would never have seen. Some of that was classified. I found out that they only stamped the top pages of these documents that were classified, so I just removed them. I removed those pages and I carried them out. And if they'd caught me, I'd be in a gulag still.
Yeah.
None of those people that we talked to on that trip in 1993 would ever talk to me again. I went back in 1996 and it was like I had the plague. I spoke to different people, but they were scared. And eventually the story was spun where the Ministry of Defense officials who gave us this information were described as ufologists who said there was nothing really significant to these files. They didn't really find anything a big deal. And I can tell you, you'll see those files that I shared with you. They did find stuff. There was an incident in October of 1982 over at ICBM base where UFOs popped up, was observed over this base where the missiles are pointed at us, United States. These UFOs perform incredible maneuvers. They split apart. They fuse back together. They'd appear and disappear. And right at the end of this 4-hour period, the launch control codes for the ICBMs lit up. Something entered the correct codes. The missiles were fired up and ready to launch, and they could not shut it down. The Russian officers were panicking. The UFOs they disappeared. The launch control system goes back to normal. Colonel Sokolov and his team came in, took the thing apart, could not figure out what it was. It wasn't a power surge or EMPs or some of the baloney excuses that our country has given for similar events involving our nuclear missiles. They thought it was a message from wherever the UFOs were from. And that's a chilling thing. I mean, we were a couple of seconds away from World War III starting, and the UFOs were responsible for it.
All right, I'm out of time, but real quick, who are the contractors that have this material, the corporations?
Well, one of them is Lockheed. And I'll tell you, I mean, you know, I'm not saying Lockheed's the bad guys. They're doing what they were asked to do. Sure. They have lied about this because that's what they're supposed to do. But Lockheed would be one. There's a list I can give you, Congressman. Some of the big ones, the usual suspects.
Okay, thank you.
Had the opportunity over the years to interview, again, people who have worked at the test site at Groom Lake. One gentleman spent 12 of his 30 years in black programs at Groom Lake. When I asked him, I said, first of all, I said, do you believe in UFOs? And he looked at me with a straight face in one-on-one. He said, absolutely, positively, they do exist. I said, can you expand upon that? He said, no, I can't. About a year later, we were talking about, again, activities at Groom Lake. And I asked him, I said, you know, can you really tell me what's happening out there? He said, well, there's a lot of things that are going on there that I won't be able to tell you until the year 2025. But we have things in the Nevada desert that would make George Lucas envy.
Once again, the Mountain Dew conspiracy predicted what just happened in 2025. The theory goes that every major new flavor they release contains a hidden message that foreshadows a...
Shout outs to Phil Spixel. He's an excellent man. Mini Minute Man tries to destroy him, but this is an amazing man.
Major world event. So like in 2001, they released their famous Code Red flavor. Just 3 months later in September, that happens, a Code Red. Then they dropped Mountain Dew Maui Burst, and we had the wildfires in Maui back in 2023. Star Spangled Splash came out the same year that Baltimore Bridge collapsed. You remember that? The name of the bridge was the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Now, who wrote the American National Anthem, the Star Spangled Banner? Yup. Francis Scott Key, Star Spangled Splash. In 2025, they came out with Baja Midnight, a new flavor they're really pushing, and well, it sort of just happened. Just like in 2024, when they dropped Infinite Swirl, which coincided with the insane hurricane season in southeastern USA that never seemed to end. And the re-release of their Pitch Black flavor preceded the largest IT blackout in history, the CrowdStrike outage in that same year. Another one, Purple Thunder, has the same name as a classified military defense test performed by the IDF, and well, let's just leave it at that. But now we have Baja Midnight, which they announced in a live press conference not too long ago. And just have a look at what the US military's recent activity in you-know-where was called. Yeah, that. Cited as being the largest B-2 bomber airstrike in US history, which struck at midnight. Now, Baja typically means low or lower in Spanish, but can also be taken to translate to... yeah, I couldn't make this up if I tried. Baja Midnight. Did this really just happen?
Crazy.
You think 3I Atlas is just passing Mars? Think again. On October 3rd, 2025, it will pass so close you could spot it with a backyard telescope. Some scientists call it an interstellar comet, but others whisper it could be more. A probe, maybe even a ship. As it flies by, enthusiasts say this is our chance to look for UAP in the Martian skies. Aim your telescope at Mars, watch for strange moving lights, and record everything. You might capture something humanity has never seen before. But here's the unsettling part. If you do see something, what then? Because if 3I Atlas is more than just rock and ice, it means someone, or something, could already be watching us back.
The image I'm going to show you is going to blow your mind. Humans have actively been trying to get into contact with aliens, but despite our best efforts, it would be very hard for aliens to find us. The very first radio transmission was in the 1890s, but those radio signals were too weak to make it far in space, let alone be understood by aliens. Much later, we actually tried to contact aliens. We sent out this radio message with information about humans and Earth. They sent that message out in 1974, and they sent it to this star cluster. This star cluster is 22,000 light years away, so it will take that very simple message over 22,000 years to get here. In 2008, NASA beamed the Beatles song across the universe into deep space. But ignoring all of those recent attempts, even if those very first radio signals over 100 years ago were powerful enough and clear enough to alert aliens that we exist, this is how far those radio signals would have traveled. I'm not talking about the black box. I'm talking about that tiny little blue dot. That's how far evidence of humans has gone.
TikTok is about to change forever. On September 9th, 2025, the 9th day of the 9th month in the 9 year, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9, we hit 999. That's not just a date, that's a completion code. 999 means the end of a cycle, and when cycles close, systems clamp down. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, they're already preparing new rules, more censorship, less reach, more shadow bans. They don't want raw truth slipping through. Why? Because people are waking up everywhere. And when consciousness rises, control tightens. That's why after 9/9, you'll see voices like mine coded, clipped, silenced. So here's the command. Don't rely on these apps. If you want the raw decodings, the real activations, the uncensored breakdowns, you need to be in the Telegram group. That's the safest space beyond their filters. Go to the link in my bio, join now before 9/9 hits, because after that, these platforms won't feel the same. This is your last warning. Don't get left out of alignment.
According to conspiracy theorists, the Rothschild family secretly controls the global financial system through a vast network of central banks, including the Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, and the International Monetary Fund.
Bad people.
By manipulating interest rates, currency values, and national debts, they supposedly engineer economic booms and crashes to consolidate wealth and power. This alleged dominance is said to date back to the Napoleonic Wars, where the Rothschilds supposedly funded both sides, using insider information and financial leverage to profit from the outcome. Since then, they are rumored to have played a hidden role in every major conflict, from World War I and II to more recent geopolitical tensions. The ultimate goal, in this theory, is to establish a new world order, a centralized one-world government where the Rothschilds and their allies, often linked to secretive groups like the Illuminati, pull the strings. As part of this grand scheme, they are believed to own or control vast natural resources, including gold reserves, oil companies, and even the major media outlets, enabling them to maintain the illusion that they are just another rich family rather than the hidden rulers of the world.
Just a little tip for you guys. From around 1920, the Rothschilds took over all the books, the learning books, all the school books, and they erased a lot of our history. They made history the way they wanted it. So if you want real history, you got to go beyond earlier than I think 1920 or 1918 to get the real stories. Because if you look at the books, a lot of the skies are whited out. They're just whited out, and you take all that away, and you see the airships. We had flight. We had airships, and you know, when that Zeppelin finally came down, burning fire, it was the end of it all. But they're trying to make oil and all that stuff our only sense of energy. Meanwhile, there's so many almost free energy, constant usual energy. Like I can't think of the word. The atmosphere has electricity. The higher you go up, ether, you know, and the Zeppelins would recharge with that stuff. I don't know, that mixture, and they just had pictures of it. Just be aware. Any books from the 1920s beyond, that's all the Rothschilds propaganda. Just to make you aware of that. It's probably going to be on some of these episodes, videos later on.
If you go to the hospital today and get an encephalogram, what's that? That's the memory of your conscious mind. It's on the CD. Let's download it on this being. Now we got a walking, talking duplicate that has the total memory that you have, because we just took it off of your own mind.
Okay, it's like Blade Runner, the android.
Exactly. The only thing is that it's like this DVD recorder. Sometimes you have glitches in it, so you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital, to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the
Mercury.
others.
Mercury, what I was talking about.
They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't have soul. That's also prophesized. Soulless
that's
beings.
true. That's true.
Do you want to hear about the greatest imposters of human history? Please. Queen Elizabeth I was actually a man. What?
I don't believe it.
So when she was 9 years old, she was sent off to a town called Bisley because there's a plague going on. King Henry, he hadn't seen her for many years. And so he was out on a hunting trip close to Bisley. And so he's like, I'm going to go visit my daughter. On his way there, Queen Elizabeth got sick and died. King Henry VIII obviously had a very bad temper. She's looking for a girl that looks close to Queen Elizabeth. Can't find any girl. But Queen Elizabeth's friend, they said a very pretty boy, red hair. So they dressed him up like Queen Elizabeth. And then King Henry got there. There was no suspicion. She became queen. If you look back, she had no weakness of a woman, but the mind of a man. She would always wear a high collar. She refused to get married. But the kicker, hundreds of years later, in Bisley, there's a graveyard very close to the house where Queen Elizabeth grew up. There's an unmarked grave. And when they excavated it, there was a little girl, the same age as when Queen Elizabeth would have died. She was wearing Tudor clothes, like royalty clothes, but an unmarked grave.
Crazy.
What color was kindergarten?
Kindergarten?
Yeah, when you was in kindergarten or pre-K, what color was it? Ooh. It was every color.
Yeah, I was gonna say rainbow.
Okay, now when you went to first to second grade, what color was it?
I don't know.
It was bland. Yeah. It was that color. Yeah, it was just
like jail.
Exactly. Then when you went to high school, what color was it?
Like jail.
Yeah. Okay, then when you went to work, what color was the wall?
Yeah.
Messed up part is I did the 10 years altogether, you know, in prison. And I used to tell my fiance, like the cookie cutter facilities, those have been there, know what I'm talking about. All the cookie cutter facilities, it felt like you were in college. They were just college dorms. You walk in the street, you go in the yard, it's dark out. You got your foot up against the handball court and you're smoking your cigarettes, smoking deuce or whatever. You know, so schools are kind of made like prisons. You got to raise your hand, get permission to do everything. You're controlled. Teachers are like the COs, principals are like the COs, and it's just the cafeteria is like the mess hall. When we go to chow, you know, it's ridiculous. They set you up for failure. This This world is setting you up for failure. Just to be a worker, B.
It's waning you off the frequency. When you a kid, you vibrant, you running around, and then the first thing they do is they say, wane them off the frequency. Make the walls tan, make everything tan, make it boring. Sit down, don't move. They just get you right out your spirituality. And then the next time that you do get introduced to a colorful environment, guess where you at? You in a club. If the club was this color, nobody would go. But since it's black and it's universal light, aka from red to purple, it feel like you in the universe. It feel like you in the So this is why people like the club. It's called colorology. Even hunger. Hunger is triggered by the color red, yellow, and orange. What color is Wendy's? What color is Chick-fil-A, McDonald's? Every highly successful fast food franchise, I guarantee you, if they not all red, orange, and yellow, they have either one of them colors at a high value.
Yeah.
So this is people who literally socially engineer the world.
Reality is a simulation, and Jesus knew it, and he tried to warn us, but the church erased it. Sound crazy? Well, then ask yourself this. Have you ever wondered if everything that you see, everything you touch, could be an illusion? A hologram, a simulation, a cosmic deepfake? Well, Jesus already figured this out 2,000 years ago, and what's even wilder is that modern physics is proving him right. See, today, scientists are discovering that matter doesn't even exist, that everything is just structured information, a projection from a higher reality. But here's the crazy part. An ancient book called The Sophia of Jesus Christ revealed this secret almost 2,000 years ago, and the church was so terrified of what it said that they banned it. So if this world is an illusion, then who built it? And more importantly, how do you escape? And by the end of this video, you'll know. And once you do, you'll never see reality the same way again. The Sophia of Jesus Christ is a book that was likely written in the 1st or 2nd century CE, and the church was not happy. They tried to Control-Alt-Delete this info by banning it and persecuting anyone who had it. But luckily, it was discovered in 1945, buried near the tombs of Egypt. And in this book, Jesus appears not in the flesh, but as pure, blinding light. But who is the Sophia in the Sophia of Jesus Christ? Well, Sophia is the Greek word for wisdom. So this book is called The Wisdom of Jesus Christ. But Sophia is also a goddess of pure light, more powerful than the God of the Bible. So we'll get to that soon, but first, what exactly does this book the church feared so much actually reveal? According to this book, after the crucifixion, Jesus' followers were basically having an existential crisis. The man that they thought was going to bring about a new reality was just dead. Game over. Or so they thought, because something insane happened. According to the Sophia of Jesus Christ, Jesus returned, but not in the way that anyone was expecting, and he was about to reveal that this world is nothing like what it seems. The text says, "The Savior appeared, not in his previous form, but in the invisible spirit, and his likeness resembles a great angel of light. But his resemblance I must not describe. No mortal flesh could endure it, but only pure, perfect flesh." So this was Jesus 2.0, not as a body, but as light, a light that's so pure the average person couldn't even look at him. So why is this important? Well, he wasn't just trying to make a dramatic entrance. Jesus was showing that he basically hacked his way out of the simulation, because reality, it's not made of matter. He was like Neo, free from the Matrix, and his message to the disciples, reality is not what you were told. Now, his disciples, which were 12 men and 7 women, according to this book, gathered around a mountain called Divination and Joy, and they were confused. They had seen Jesus die, but here he was, like an angel of light, and they weren't asking him about love thy neighbor, fish and loaves, or turning the other cheek. They wanted answers, so they straight up asked him, what is the underlying reality of the universe? Now hold on for a minute, pause. Do you notice something different here? This isn't the Bible story they tell you in church. They weren't asking about simple moral lessons or parables. They wanted to know what reality itself actually is. And Jesus, he didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't tell them to just have faith or pray on it. Instead, he hit them with this. I want you to know that all men from the foundation of the world until now, while they have inquired about God, who he is and what he is like, they have not found him. The wisest among them have speculated from the ordering of the world and its movements, but their speculation has not reached the truth. So Jesus was saying that no one has figured this out. Not the greatest philosophers, not the holiest priests, not even that one friend who always thinks they've unlocked the universe after one ayahuasca trip, because they've all been looking in the wrong place. But Jesus wasn't trapped like them because he wasn't from here. He tells them, I, who came from infinite light, am here, for I know him. light, that I might speak to you about the precise nature of the truth. So Jesus is straight up saying that he came from beyond this world, beyond this simulation, this illusion, this prison of a false reality. And then he casually drops this bombshell. I want you to know that everything that exists was brought forth from a single source of infinite light, but the world itself is polluted. So did you catch that? He just said that everything that exists, everything was born from a singularity of infinite light. Do you know how crazy this is? This is a book that's almost 2,000 years old, and Jesus was literally talking about the Big Bang thousands of years before modern science even existed. But Jesus didn't stop there. The world we live in, he's saying it's not real, and that everything comes from light, but the material world is a polluted version of that something greater, purer, that's hidden from us. All right, so maybe you're thinking, okay, but this is all just a bunch of mystical mumbo-jumbo speculation, right? Well, no, it turns out that modern physics has been inching towards the exact same conclusion, except instead of calling it divine revelation, they called it quantum mechanics. Enter David Bohm, who was one of the most influential physicists of the 20th century. He took one look at reality and basically said, yeah, this is all an elaborate light show. Bohm proposed that everything we perceive as solid matter is actually born from light. Sound familiar? Bohm said, light can carry information about the entire universe. Light, by interactions of different rays, produces particles in all the diverse structures of matter. They are ripples on this vast ocean of light. This ocean of energy could be thought of as an ocean of light. Okay, think about that. The universe itself, everything you see, touch, or experience in general, it's not actually solid. It's patterns of condensed and structured light. So if it's all light, then why does it still hurt when you stub your toe? Well, Bohm described matter as frozen light. He said, all matter is a condensation of light into patterns moving back and forth at average speeds, which are less than the speed of light. In other words, everything we call physical is just light pretending to be solid, light that's been slowed down. And this aligns perfectly with what the Gnostic gospel of Jesus was saying thousands of years ago. When Jesus appeared not as a flesh and blood man, but as pure light, he wasn't just trying out a new look because he thought it looked cool. He was showing them that this world, the material world, is an illusion of light. It's part of a structured, interconnected, light-based simulation. And to make this make even more sense, I want to try a quick thought experiment. Imagine a pool of water. Well, the water represents pure light. Now imagine parts of that water freezing into ice. That ice, well, that's like matter. It's still water. It hasn't become something else. It's just a different state of the same fundamental substance. So just like ice is transformed water, matter is transformed light. Reality isn't what it seems. And to begin to see through the illusion is to realize that we were never separate from the light. We are the light. We've just been slowed down, frozen into form, trapped in a dense illusion. But the truth, we've always been part of the infinite source. Now, before we reveal more mind-blowing things that Jesus said in this banned gospel, I want you to understand how reality could be a structured simulation of light. And to do that, let's think about holograms. Now, a hologram is an image that looks real, that looks like it's three-dimensional, but it's actually just structured light. How? Well, it works by manipulating how light waves interact with each other, and it creates an illusion of depth and form. So at its core, a hologram is possible because light behaves like a wave. So when you look at a hologram, your eyes aren't seeing a physical object. Instead, they're seeing a structure of light, and your brain interprets these patterns as three-dimensional form, even though no actual object exists. Now, here's where it gets weird, because the universe is like a giant hologram. What we see as physical is just a reflection of deeper information. In other words, what if physical reality is like a hologram that you can touch and feel? In this Gnostic gospel, Jesus is saying something very similar almost 2,000 years ago. Now, this was not the message the early church wanted people to hear. Jesus was Neo and Morpheus rolled into one. He was standing there basically holding out red pills, trying to break people out of the Matrix. Now, the disciples were still trying to understand what Jesus was revealing. If the world is an illusion, and if everything they've ever known was false, then where was the real truth, and who was God, really? And how could they possibly find him if the wisest people in history weren't able to? Well, Jesus said, since no one rules over him, he has no name, for whoever has a name is the creation of another. So Philip, probably rethinking his entire existence, is trying to understand and asks, Lord, how then did he, the source, appear to the perfect ones? In other words, if no one has ever seen God, if he has no physical form, if he can't even be named, then how can anyone know him? And by the way, that's why calling this source of reality he is already wrong. But since the text uses it, we'll roll with it for now. But in reality, the true God, the source of divine light, is beyond gender, beyond form, beyond anything we can imagine. So Philip had a good question, and Jesus has a great answer. Before anything is visible, the majesty and the authority are in him, since he embraces the whole of the totalities while nothing embraces him. Everything, the entire universe, every star, every soul, every hidden reality, everything exists within this infinite source, and he exists within us. In other words, the source is in everything. So to begin to understand the invisible realm, the hidden realm, it's about beginning to realize that it's in everything visible, everything out there and inside of you. And then Jesus drops a revelation that science is just now catching up to. For he is all mind, and he is thought, and considering, and reflecting, and rationality, and power. They are equal powers. They are the sources of the totalities. Okay, let's break that down. The universe, it's not made of matter, it's not physical, it's thought, it's pure mind. Now wait, hold up. Didn't we just say reality is light? Now we're saying it's mind? So which is it? Both. Here's the crazy part. Light isn't like anything else in the universe. It moves at the absolute speed limit of reality. Nothing can go faster. And here's where it gets weirder. Photons, particles of light, have no mass. And if we imagine reality from the perspective of a photon, it wouldn't experience space. It wouldn't experience time. In other words, light isn't physical. Light isn't matter. Light is mind. And the true God, he's not a king who rules over others. It's pure mind, pure light. Everything we experience is thought made manifest. Light slowed down. Thought and light are actually the same thing. This is a reality of thought, a reality of light, not of matter. Sound crazy? Well, guess what? This aligns perfectly with what some of the greatest minds in physics have discovered.
Shout out to Morg.
Do you know what they really built under the Hoover Dam?
Shout out.
They told us it was just a dam, just a power plant. But the Hoover Dam was never about electricity. It was about control and what's buried underneath it. From the very beginning, the project didn't make sense. The sheer size, the budget, the military involvement. Why rush to build something this massive in the middle of a desert during the Great Depression? Here's what most people don't know. Hoover Dam was engineered to produce far more power than the region needed at the time. That wasn't overbuilding. It was over-preparing for something, and there are sealed vaults beneath it that remain unexplained to this day. Engineers have documented inconsistencies in the original blueprints, rooms that don't appear in final construction, entire service tunnels that were welded shut after the war. Save this file now, because once you hear this, you'll want to re-watch it. Some researchers believe the dam was built directly on an energetic fault point, a convergence of ancient ley lines. And it doesn't stop there. There are references to electromagnetic interference near the base of the structure. Some insiders believe the dam functions as more than hydroelectric. It may be containing something. There are even Cold War-era records showing experimental tech storage in defense contracts tied to the site in the 1950s. But no one asks. No one looks deeper. Because the Hoover Dam isn't just a marvel of engineering. It's a monument to suppression, a structure designed to bury a secret beneath millions of tons of concrete. Drop a theory and double tap if this makes you question the official story. Share with someone who still thinks it's just a dam. Follow for more hidden truth files.
Phenomena of chemtrails. And, you know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time. And so, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing, and you didn't know why. Okay, and you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting. So he started riffing about the chemtrails, and he started to say things that hit home so hard. And I would recommend that everybody try to get what he said online or wherever and try to get a copy of it and just listen to it. Because I was so moved that I had to write the song.
One conspiracy theory that Prince believed in wholeheartedly was the conspiracy theory of chemtrails. He alleged that this is why everybody acts crazy when planes pass by in the sky, and nobody could understand why these things were happening. He said he learned this information from Dick Gregory, and Dick Gregory was an activist who would talk about alleged different things that would happen in society. All of this information actually motivated Prince to make the song called Dreamer, where he talks about a few different conspiracy theories.
wine and blood. Never knew it was different. If Dr. King was on the balcony, lying in a bloody pool. Expected so much more from a loving society. Truthful explanation, but you know what? I got another conspiracy. This helicopter, this series gets too deep.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep this song on. So if you don't hear the song when I'm editing, the words are still there because I don't want to get a copyright.
You better check these devils.
And after Prince's passing, Dick Gregory actually did an interview where he says that Prince was unalived on purpose.
They killed Prince. They killed Prince on the plane. And that plane is owned by Warren Buffett. And so those are the games they play, man.
Let me know what you guys think on Prince's conspiracy theory on chemtrails, the song Dreamer, and what Dick Gregory said about Prince's unaliving.
Because I'm trying to tell y'all, people didn't know the Titanic sunk on purpose.
Yep.
They didn't know, and they monetized the shit. That's why I say it's so much hidden knowledge, and people caught flack when I said this, but a lot of people liked it when I said that if the regurgitated version of the Bible that they gave us today helped black people or any people get out of their current situation, they would have never introduced it to us, which is true.
Right.
Because the Vatican has so much fucking like books, all type of architect. They have real knowledge that a lot of people ain't even ready for, but they give us this.
Right.
Anytime your enemy gives you something, it's not for your use, bro.
They gave us shackles.
That's all it is.
Wow.
And see, listen, the Bible, like I say, the Bible is what keep broke people from killing rich people.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? That's the glue. You see what I'm saying?
What?
It's a belief system, bro. Everything is built around belief systems.
I'm the most feared man in Hollywood. They don't like me in Hollywood. Why do they not like you? I don't wear dresses. I don't do that gay stuff on TV. They had to get some other black person to do that stuff. I'm talking, that's gunning. But they all confess they love the Lord. But you cannot compromise yourself if you love the Lord. So I play tough guys, but young kids want to be soldiers. Young kids don't want to follow a guy to wear a dress. You know what I'm talking about.
Conspiracy theories that will change your perspective on life. The last one is the most shocking. The Big Bounce theory. It states that if the Big Bang occurred from nothing, then there will be no changing fact the next time the universe is created. This means that when our universe ends and another is created, it will be created in the exact same way with the exact same galaxies, planets, and species. If this is true, our entire universe is in an endless cycle of creating and destroying itself, and you will be born into every universe endlessly. You can actually see who blocks you on TikTok. It's the first person that appears when you click share and more. The real reason Apple removed the headphone jack was to try to remove Square Pay systems as a competitor for Apple Pay. Ancestry DNA and the rest of those Ancestry websites are run by the government to have access to people's DNA across reference crimes, etc. The food we have been eating in the United States is a huge part of the mental illness going on today. Like and follow for more interesting yet mind-bending conspiracies.
Some guys. Sorry, ladies.
The case of Sandra Bland is one of the most impactful and downright creepy cases in the history of this country. So Sandra Bland was a 28-year-old civil rights activist from Illinois. While in Waller County, Texas, she was pulled over for a very minor traffic infraction. Things escalated and got out of hand super quickly. I just want you to take a quick watch of this video.
You okay?
I'm waiting on you. This is your job.
Oh, you seem very irritated.
I am. I really am.
You mind putting out your cigarette, please? Don't mind.
I'm in my car, but I have to put out my cigarette.
Well, you can step on out now. Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car.
You do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove you.
And I'm calling my
I'm going to yank you out of here.
Okay, you going to yank me out of my car?
Get out.
Okay, touch me.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
And then you
I will light you up. Get out.
Wow.
Now.
Right, yeah. Yeah, let's take this to court. Let's
go ahead.
For failure to signal. Yeah.
So when this footage was originally released, it was released in like a 50-minute long full segment, right? But it was believed that it was doctored by almost everyone who's seen it because it had loops of the same thing playing in it. So she was in jail for a total of 3 days, right? But then this is where the entire case turned on its head. On July 13th, 2015, Sandra was found hanged in her cell. Jail ruled it an unaliving of herself, right?
Yeah.
But her family and the world didn't believe this was true because she had just gotten a new job offer. She was super happy all of the time, and she made phone calls while in jail and seemed super excited about the future and about getting out, right? But then this next moment changed everything. This photo was released of Sandra Bland. Everybody all said the same thing. Everyone believes she is dead in this photo.
What?
Which was taken on the day of her intake, 3 days before she was allegedly found dead, which would explain all of the inconsistencies and lack of surveillance footage of her. If you look at this photo, there's a couple of reasons why people believe that she's dead. First of all, if you look at her eyes are clearly not focusing on the same thing. And it appears as if the eyes are edited. It lacks color consistency. And then the biggest one of all, if you look at the way that the shadow is cast behind her, the shadow is cast as if a light is coming from directly in front of her, which would mean that she's laying down. And then if you look at the way her hair is flowing, her hair is falling down as if gravity is pulling it toward the ground. The majority of the world has come to the understanding that this photo is not showing Sandra alive. Some people believe that she died prior to ever getting to the jail. Some people think that she died from whatever happened to her while she was in the jail. But the majority of people who see this photo do not believe that Sandra Bland was alive in this picture.
Pick it up.
We switching lanes like what the fuck? Them people get behind you, nigga, tear that bitch up. Tear it up. We know from belt to ass. Walk a nigga like a dog. Treat a nigga like his dad. Like his dad. If I said it, I'm into it. I ain't talk.
For you guys. Sorry, ladies.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
Sorry, ladies.
We are the first species.
Pay attention, people. Pay attention.
To be aware of evolution, to be aware that we are affecting our own evolution by everything that we do. The babies we eat, the food we eat, the wars we fight. We are the
Questions you're not allowed to ask. Why did the owner of the World Trade Center get maximum insurance against terrorist attacks 6 weeks prior to September 11th? Why did the owner have breakfast in the towers every morning except for September 11th? The day before September 11th, Rumsfeld gave a press conference where he talked about trillions of dollars missing.
Our financial systems are decades old. According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
Why was CNN already there before the attacks with a camera crew ready to film? Why was there an unidentified group of short cells purchased against airline companies right before the attacks? Why was every passenger incinerated in the explosion? But the terrorist passport somehow survived. Why was a report published a year before 9/11 by George W. Bush's administration saying they needed to aggressively expand military power worldwide, but they need a catalyzing Pearl Harbor level event in order to gain public support?
I opened the box, and this is in it. And it has some very KKK's cross. Fucking... This was in my box of Velveeta.
So I'll admit, when I first saw that video, I took it with a grain of salt. But upon doing some further research, this is something that's happening very frequently. So all across Pennsylvania for the past few months, people have been finding these bizarre, cryptic, conspiracy-laden notes packaged with their food or other home good items. Someone found one of these notes in a Belvita box. The person at the beginning found theirs in a Velveeta box. And they've been found in dog food containers, pasta, cake mix, candy, and cookies. Whoever is putting these notes in these boxes has access to a lot of food. Now, obviously, whatever this person is putting on these notes is coded in some way. I haven't really found anybody that's been able to decipher what this note actually means, but it's incredibly offensive and incredibly bizarre, making references to a number of disturbing topics. It really is a mystery. Who has access to this much food? Who's bringing these notes in and who's putting them in boxes? Obviously, whatever this person has tried to do by spreading this message has worked, because their message is now blasted all over social media, whatever that message is. But I really hope that they can find who's doing this and question them, because, I don't know, it's kind of concerning that this person's able to put this sort of a thing in food. Who knows what else this person could add into food products, especially if they have this sort of access already.
Want to know what you missed? Well, you're distracted by Jeffrey Epstein documents and G-Side in the Middle East and aliens in Miami.
Shout out to this guy.
One of the world's most infamous conspiracy theories. Stop being a theory. And I am talking about the McDonald's ice cream conspiracy. And oh boy, is it bigger and more sinister than you might think. And this case is direct evidence, proof even, that corporations engage in conspiracies for their benefit against us. And this one's fun and it's spicy. So I'm going to briefly catch you up on the basics of the McDonald's ice cream conspiracy theory. And then I'm going to fill you in on the new lawsuit that sheds light on what's really going on. And this one goes right to the top, to emails sent by CEOs. So I'm sure you know that McDonald's is famous for having their ice cream machines down all the time. And it became so common throughout the 2010s that it became a meme. Mainstream news outlets started reporting on it, and people all over the internet started speculating on it. See, McDonald's ice cream maker is made by this company called Taylor, who's been making McDonald's equipment since McDonald's was founded. And if you own a McDonald's, you are required to use this ice cream machine. Johnny Harris made a great video about this a couple of years ago. Highly recommend you watch it, and it'll catch you up to speed to this new lawsuit that just came out right at the end of last year.
Mind-numbing 100-page instruction manuals for ice cream makers. I started talking to McDonald's franchise owners and managers, and yes, it turns out there is something really weird going on.
And when Johnny read through all those service manuals and read through a bunch of the financials, he discovered something interesting. In 2017, Taylor claimed that 25% of their revenues comes from recurring service, i.e. fixing the machines. According to the stats in this report, that would be $78.75 million a year. But in another report from the company, he found them claiming that actually they make $170 million a year just from maintenance and repair. The entire business model of this company is to put out a faulty product that franchisees are required to use and then to charge hefty fees to repair it constantly. But that is just the start of this. Because a startup named Kitch actually designed a product that you can plug into this ice cream machine, and it will hack the ice cream machine's computers and fix the problems for you. It connects to a phone app so you don't have to deal with their stupid little screen, and you can see exactly what's wrong and fix it without calling the repairman. And you can imagine how Taylor felt about that. And this is where we go into straight up conspiracies. Not conspiracy theories. I'm about to read from court documents. So here's a lawsuit filed in 2021 where Kitch sued this dude who's a McDonald's franchise owner and laid out the dirt. This case is about corporate espionage and the extreme steps one manufacturer, Taylor, has taken to conceal and protect a multi-million-dollar repair racket. Kitch soon uncovered a repair racket whereby Taylor designed flawed code that caused the machines to malfunction So Kitch designed this revolutionary new technology that would fix this problem, and it was worth millions of dollars, and they had to test it out on actual McDonald's machines. But they knew that various companies would try to steal their data, so they created a whole bunch of legal firewalls and NDAs, and were very careful about who got their hands on this new Kitch product. And it was for good reason, because Taylor tried to steal it 3 times. First, one of Taylor's distribution managers tried to purchase a device, but Kitch's security protocol flagged and blocked the purchase. Then, a lawyer employed by Taylor's outside counsel attempted to purchase the Kitch solution. Kitch blocked this second attempt. After that, 2 private investigators associated with Taylor used aliases and dummy email addresses to get their hands on the device. Once again, Kitch canceled the orders. They literally hired corporate spies to use fake names to try to get their hands on this software. And when all of that didn't work, they found a McDonald's franchise owner to collaborate and collude with. Everything changed after Tyler Gamble, a major McDonald's franchise and leader of the group that works to introduce new products into McDonald's restaurants, enrolled in the Kitch trial. Gamble approached Kitch and explained that he was the head of McDonald's equipment team. And at first, Gamble appeared to support Kitch's mission. Kitch is informed and believes that this was a ruse. Now we get to the parts of these documents from the court that are fully redacted. Like, I spent the first month of 2024 reading Jeffrey Epstein documents, and McDonald's documents are just as redacted. I think this is because it's proprietary information about Kitch's software inside of here. But anyways, back to this franchise owner, Gamble, who got into the Kitch trial and got his hands on one of their machines and then started using it in conjunction with Taylor, the company, to reverse engineer their technology and to make their own product. During the case of discovery, Kitch later examined that machine and discovered that Gamble's Brownsville device was connected to the internet. Again, if they had taken it off the internet for a long time to do things to it, who knows? And when it connected back to the internet in 2021, its SD card was 90% full. The device log indicated that someone had been accessing the Kitch Solutions device, and the device had been powered on and used for weeks after going offline. However, according to the device log, the cables were disconnected periodically, so the device could not retrieve information or connect to the internet. I.e., they took this device by stealing it from the trial, and then they unplugged it from the internet so it couldn't tell Kitch what they were doing, and then they worked on it in secret to try to reverse engineer it. And then lo and behold, a new product hit the market from Powerhouse Dynamics that was basically an exact replica of Kitch, but not as good. And surprise, surprise, Powerhouse Dynamics is owned by Middleby Corporation, the same company that owns Taylor. You know, this Taylor that makes the ice cream machines? Probably just a coincidence. And now we're caught up to what just happened. But what's the new scoop, you ask? See, back when Kitch was gaining traction, right before their trials got infiltrated, McDonald's had sent out this email warning franchise owners not to use Kitch because it wasn't safe. This was the email where they threatened to void all warranties if you used a Kitch device. They said that it was allegedly really, really dangerous and it's going to turn on while you're repairing it and it'll rip your hands to pieces, despite the machine itself having fail-safes in place to not allow it to turn on when it's open for repair. And then in all bold, they said, as such, McDonald's strongly recommends that you remove the Kitch device from any machines and discontinue all use, and is reminding you da-da-da-da-da, you get the point. But as it turns out, they uncovered an email from the CEO of the Taylor parent company, Middleby, the guy in charge, that was straight up mafia code language for someone killed this product. Quote, not sure if there's anything we can do to slow up the franchise community on the other solution, i.e. Kitch. Not sure what communications from either McD or Mid can or will go out. Like, who knows? Like, maybe it would be a shame if something happened to the other solution. And just about 2 weeks after he sent that email out, McDonald's sent out this email. This is the guy, the CEO of Middleby, Dingleberry, I don't know the name, whatever the name of the company is. He gets paid $9.5 million a year as the CEO. And it's looking like Kitch might win their $900 million lawsuit against McDonald's because they collaborated with this scumbag at the expense of all the franchise owners to the tune of millions of dollars of repair money every year, to the tune of an average of 15% of all McDonald's ice cream machines being out at any given time.
Again, is this a deep conspiracy? Is there like secret backdoor deals going on? No.
See, Johnny Harris and a lot of other mainstream journalists love to do this thing where they show you every part of a conspiracy theory and then they try to be like, see, it's not a conspiracy. It's just normal business. But actually, Johnny, it's looking like there are secret backdoor deals going on. And actually, this is the definition of a conspiracy. This is called corporate espionage, and it's a tactic regularly engaged in to take out competitors, to monopolize markets, and to screw everyone over for the corporation to make more money. So, just one more reason not to buy McDonald's.
Okay, I have a spicy conspiracy theory for you today. And I'm just going to start out by saying it's a lot easier to control the masses and control the narrative around something through emotional manipulation. So you'll notice if something is considered a tragedy, it's like totally taboo to ask questions about it. Case closed, that's it. So if there's people in the comments that have a problem with this or calling me insensitive for talking about this, that's fine, because if it's true, that's the desired outcome. Anyways, this is the crew of the 1986 Challenger space shuttle mission. Infamously, on January 28, 1986, the space shuttle exploded right after takeoff. The disaster was broadcast on live television to 40 million viewers. Two men, Bob Eberling and Roger Boisjoli, worked tirelessly to warn NASA about an issue with the shuttle's O-rings, making calls and warning anyone that would listen going all the way back to October the prior year. They warned that if these O-rings were used on a launch on a day that was below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, that there would be a catastrophe. But of course, no one listened, which automatically kind of makes me think they wanted the catastrophe to happen. Roughly 80 seconds after the launch, the shuttle exploded and all 7 crew members lost their lives. This is Judy Resnick, an engineer and pilot aboard the Challenger mission. In 2013, an eagle-eyed internet user found Judith Resnick, a law professor at Harvard Law School. Some people were a little taken aback by the identical name, age, and likeness, so they started digging. This is Michael J. Smith, also an engineer and pilot aboard the Challenger shuttle, who passed away that fateful day in 1986 at the age of 39 years old. This is Dr. Michael J. Smith, professor of engineering at the University of Wisconsin. This is Sharon Krista McAuliffe, arguably one of the most famous things about the Challenger mission. She was supposedly just a teacher that was picked at random to be one of the astronauts, which made it all the more tragic when she passed away due to the Challenger disaster in 1986. This is Sharon A. McAuliffe, also a law professor who received her degree shortly after the Challenger disaster. Dick Scobie was the commander of the mission. Here's Commander Dick Scobie next to Richard Scobie, the CEO of Cows and Trees. Here's his company's original logo. It's a cow, but it's not in a tree. It's strapped to a rocket, and gee, that jet stream kind of looks familiar. In fact, just in case I wasn't making it clear, the top picture is the Challenger ship shortly after exploding. So, you know, Astronauts Ronald McNair and Ellison Onizuka both passed away when the Challenger shuttle exploded. Miraculously, it was found out that they both had twin brothers, Carl McNair and Claude Onizuka. But ancestry searches were done for both Carl and Claude, and there was no birth records found. And the odds of 2 sets of identical twins in a crew of 7 are astronomical. But that's just a theory. Rest in peace to the crew of the Challenger space shuttle mission.
I believe him.
Kevin Spacey is allegedly one of the worst pedophiles in American history. This story goes very deep and is very disturbing, so buckle up. So if you don't know who Kevin Spacey is, he's a very, very successful actor. I'm sure most of you recognize him. He's been in all sorts of movies and TV shows like the movie Seven, American Beauty, The Usual Suspects, and even TV shows like the massively popular House of Cards. This is a really sad case because I love so many of the movies that he's been in, but the story is just horrific. In fact, before his fall from grace, Kevin Spacey was one of the most awarded and respected actors in all of Hollywood. But good things don't always last forever in that town. All the legal trouble started for Kevin in 2017, when an actor named Anthony Rapp came forward and said that Spacey had assaulted him in 1986 at a party when he was 14 and Kevin Spacey was 26. Now, obviously, this is a major crime against a minor, but let me read you Kevin Spacey's response from Twitter. Kevin wrote on Twitter this, I'm going to read it, that he owed Rapp the sincerest apology for what have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior. Basically, he was trying to just say that he was drunk, oh, I touched a 14-year-old, I'm sorry. And while he was apologizing to Anthony, Kevin Spacey actually came out as gay. A lot of people thought that this was controversial. A number of celebrities spoke up about this because they believed that Kevin was trying to distract people from the allegations and focus more on him, painting himself more as a victim. People were also mad that he was blaming his sexual advance on a minor on him being drunk and that he was creating a bridge between homosexuality and child sex abuse. But this was only the beginning of Kevin's downfall. You see, after Anthony Rapp came forward, 15 other people came forward with similar allegations against Kevin Spacey. A Boston anchorwoman named Heather Unruh actually came forward as well and said that Kevin Spacey had sexually assaulted her own son. A number of actors reported that Kevin Spacey had assaulted them, and a lot of these people who were victims were from the Hollywood cycle, including 8 people who worked on the set of House of Cards. Newspapers across America were publishing stories about Kevin Spacey, and they were apparently getting flooded with reports that Kevin Spacey liked to grope young men. This is also important to note, Kevin Spacey was logged on Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs a number of times in the early 2000s. This is a proven fact, this is not a conspiracy, so what the hell was he doing on that plane? After all of this hit the news, Kevin Spacey was canceled so fully from every part of his life. His managers, agents, publicists, they all dropped him. The movies that he was involved with were canceled. The TV shows were canceled. And although you would think that he would have been in jail by now, he hasn't been. You see, something really strange about this case with Kevin Spacey is that a number of his accusers have gone missing or have died before the cases could be brought to trial. I don't know, something about this just really rubs me the wrong way. If you want me to talk more about the suspicious deaths, let me know in the comments. But currently Kevin is facing some charges in England. The trial is set to start very soon. And yeah, there's so much more to this story, but I couldn't fit it all into 3 minutes, so if you want another part, let me know.
That was a real fucking thing that happened.
Somebody unexpectedly launched a surface-to-air missile and hit the UFO. It fell to Earth not far away and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. At that very instant, 23 soldiers who had watched the phenomenon turned into stone poles. Only 2 soldiers who stood in the shade and were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived. Remains of the UFO and the petrified soldiers were transferred to a secret scientific research institution near Moscow. Specialists assume that a source of energy that is still unknown to Earthlings instantly changed the structure of the soldiers' living organisms, having transformed it into a substance whose molecular composition is no different from that of limestone. This is an extremely menacing case. The aliens possess such weapons and technology that go beyond all our assumptions. They can stand up for themselves if attacked.
I was being led into a room, and Visayas had been watching a television transmission from Chicago. And policemen had just shot a black man that was running away. And then the policeman apparently ran over and tried to save his life. Okay? Visayas turns to me and he says, I don't understand your race. I don't understand why one would try to take his life and then the next minute try to save it. I didn't have an answer. In fact, many times I don't have an answer. Another time, I came on board. I was living in Lake Arrowhead at the time, and Mornay was looking at a group of meters on the ceiling of his ship, and it was all about the ozone and the air, oxygen content in our atmosphere. And he looked very distressed, and I said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "Don't they understand that all of this is here because they need it? They don't understand how we can just so carelessly destroy our environment." Now, folks, I want to share something with you. If there was not divine intervention, which apparently there has been, March 23rd of 1994, if there has not been divine intervention, and I will cover that, according to the Andromedans, we would only have 41 years left worth of oxygen in our environment. 3,500 years ago, the oxygen content, they say, was at 35, fluctuated between 35 and 38% between the North and South Poles. Today, at its highest level, it's less than 18%. Now, those of you who took biology, what happens to the human form when oxygen as a gas goes below 15%? We die, we suffocate. This is reality, folks. This is reality. This is not Peter Jennings. Okay? This, you know, I mean, we don't have anywhere else to go. You know, and for those, and this is just what I've been told, and for those of you who think there's going to be a rapture, you might be disappointed. And I'm not saying this to question your belief. I'm just telling you that there are much bigger forces going on here. Okay. Next slide, please. Save the question, sir, for later, okay, please? Next slide, please. Okay, this is our solar system. There is life in all of these systems surrounding us. They have been coming here for years. For years they've been coming here. Okay, mythology, there's a shred of truth in all of it. The work that Zecharia Sitchin is doing, an absolutely fantastic book is called The Gods of Eden by William Bramley. I would suggest that those of you who have not read it, go get it in paperback version. It'll bring you right up to speed right away. It's wonderful. And he's not a UFO person, which is why I enjoyed it even more. All the truths, just let him right to it. In fact, there's more truth that the aliens are out there than they aren't. They just don't want you to know because they don't want you to know who you are. Because the minute we wake up, the game's over. They cannot control us. And if you look at our past history, if you read Zecharia Sitchin's books, we as a race, when we stand together, rebel against the gods, the ETs. We rebel because they have been, pardon my French, shitting on us for thousands and thousands and thousands of years and holding us back. Next slide, please. Okay, here's Earth. If we could just get on focus, thanks to me. This is what's left of Maldek, the series of planets. The moon is not the only artificial. There are 9 artificial moons in our solar system, and I will share with you later what those are. I just want to cover a lot of information. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the typical and traditional picture. Does that look focused to you? Yeah. Okay, maybe it doesn't. Okay, this is the traditional picture that we see of Earth. We got an awesome home, folks. It's one of the nicest ones around. But there's some things about our planet that have been withheld from us. For example, our Earth is, in fact, hollow. It is hollow. The next slide, I'm going to show you a NASA photograph that proves that there's an opening at the North Pole. Okay, you can find this photograph in a book called Our Violent Universe by Nigel Calder. It was first released in England, and I don't know how this one slipped through the cracks, but it did. Thank goodness. We are told that the gravity of our planet has to do with the rotation. According to the Andromedans and their science, the radiation of...
Have you heard the craziest conspiracy theory about Britney Spears, that she was an employee of the Bush administration and her job was to take the public heat off of him anytime he would do something bad to keep his approval ratings high?
Honestly, I think we should just trust our president in every decision that he makes, and we should just support that and be faithful in what happens.
Do you trust this president?
Yes, I do.
Since she would always show her respect for him out of nowhere, and coincidentally, anytime something would happen very bad for Bush that would turn a lot of people against him, Britney Spears was there with a huge scandal to take some of the public attention away, and these coincidences are insane. In 2007, on the exact same night that Bush announced the reformation of Al-Qaeda, Britney was being photographed shaving her head by herself and slamming an umbrella into a paparazzi's car. The same week that Bush's approval rating hit an all-time low of only 38% and his vice president accidentally shot someone, Britney Spears publicly almost dropped her baby on its head, and everyone was too busy talking about how she shouldn't be a mom. In January 2004, when the Bush administration was having a lot of inside drama because one of the members accidentally leaked the name of an undercover CIA agent and was going on trial, the same week Britney Spears got married to Jason Alexander in Las Vegas and then ended the marriage 55 hours later. I'm gonna show you the craziest part about all of this, but before I do, make sure you follow so you finally know the craziest conspiracy theories about each of these celebrities and requests who you want to see next. The craziest part is that while Britney's breakdown was going on from 2004 to 2008, everyone seemed to love her again in 2009, and guess who is just out of office that year?
when 9/11 happened, there was someone present, witnessed it, unfortunately, you know, how traumatic that would have been. And his name was Gerard Way. You know who that is?
No.
So it was a guy who was trying to deal with this, going to his therapist, and started creating music and came up with a band called My Chemical Romance.
Oh
right?
my gosh.
And then there's a girl named Stephanie Meyer who had listened to My Chemical Romance and was inspired by their music and started writing books that went on to become the Twilight series. Not even finished. Then there's somebody who read the Twilight series and started creating a fan fiction of it. His name was E.L. Wright, I believe.
Oh, I know where this one's going.
Yep. And he went on to create a fan fiction for the Twilight series that somehow transformed into 50 Shades of Grey. So just just as if
that's a double,
just as if like the 9/11
triple
wasn't
tragedy.
Yeah. Just as if it wasn't bad enough already, that's what it led to.
9/11 was a terrible day, and it led to more terrible things.
Years and years later. It's absolutely awful.
I'm going to say thank you for sticking around for me so far. It's been a longer video than I normally make. We got a little bit more time to go, about an hour. If you stuck with me this long, you're a real one. You know, hit the subscribe, hit the like if you like this type of stuff. And I'm going to shut up and I'm going to keep these going.
Jackie Chan exposes the real way that Bruce Lee died.
There was all kind of conspiracy theories. People thought the triads, the mafia, had something to do with it. It was said that his family had a curse, his father had a curse, that he passed on to Brandon. And what is your belief on how he passed away?
What's the story in the West? I don't know.
Oh, you don't know the story in the West? That there was
how Bruce Lee died.
They said it was a couple.
Yeah.
They said he upset it because of his success in the film industry and taking the martial arts around the world, that he upset it, the triads, mafia organization.
No.
Okay, that wasn't true. The others said that he was fighting a curse that was...
No,
that's not true.
Not
okay.
true.
So what? So can you,
that news in the public. I think in the old days, 30 years ago, because the communication not fast enough.
Yeah.
There's no internet. Nobody knows. He died in somebody's house. Yeah, that's everybody knows. He died in somebody's house. My boss go to pick him up. And then send him to the hospital. Then that's the true thing.
That's the true thing.
Of course, you can find out more. I don't want to say in detail.
Yeah.
You find out the detail yourself.
They do the dive myself.
Yes.
Okay.
That's in the public in Hong Kong. Google's everybody knows. Yeah, everybody knows what happened. It's whenever I travel around, Bruce Lee died by somebody murder. No. Curse. No, nothing. Just normal die in somebody's house. That's all.
This drawing from Epstein's birthday book is incredibly disturbing. So this drawing was submitted to Epstein's birthday book. It was just released today. We don't know who drew this or who sent this in, but you can clearly see that the author here is showing Epstein in 1983 handing candy to little girls. And then fast forward 20 years, Epstein is getting massaged by a group of women, most of which are not wearing tops, and one of them even has J.E. tattooed on their butt cheeks. We've also now seen the actual letter that was allegedly sent in by Donald Trump for Epstein's birthday, which bears Trump's signature here. I mean, this clearly is what he signs on every letter. There were tons of new photographs of Epstein and victims and friends released, along with photos and images of intimate moments with him and Ghislaine, and tons of letters from his friends, his family, his assistants, including this letter from a former assistant of Epstein's where they claim they met Trump, Naomi Campbell, Kevin Spacey, Michael Jackson, Clinton, Prince Andrew, and more. There's also this magazine cover submitted to the birthday book by lawyer Alan Dershowitz, which was edited by him to say some weird stuff like, "Consume me, Jeffrey, intoxicate me, Jeffrey, Jeffrey Epstein's bloody summer. Who was Jack the Ripper? Was it Jeffrey Epstein?" There's so much to get into here and it's so disturbing. I just recorded a 2-hour breakdown of this book for my YouTube channel, The Conspiracy Files. I'm going to be releasing the video tonight, and I go through every page that's been released. So if you want to hear the full story of the birthday book, some of this stuff is so graphic and so disturbing I can't even talk about it here. So if you want to hear this full breakdown, please head to my YouTube channel and watch the full thing. It's really disturbing, and it paints a really disturbing picture not only of Epstein but also of all of his associates who clearly knew either that he was engaged in trafficking or that he was a hypersexual freak of a man. And you'll see why I'm saying that in the video that I'm releasing tonight. It's crazy stuff.
I was doing my own research on the Titanic.
I'll probably go watch that tonight too. Because it seems like he goes into detail and doesn't hold back. I like his ghost hunting stuff too. So shout outs to him doing this stuff, bringing stuff to the light. This guy's also another good guy. Shout outs to him.
Titanic conspiracy theory, trying to figure out if I could prove it or not. And I accidentally wound up making one of my most dangerous and important videos. Cause I started here and I wound up here. And if you don't know what this is, today you're gonna learn some stuff. So there's this conspiracy theory that JP Morgan back in the early 1900s had something to do with the sinking of the Titanic because he wanted the Federal Reserve to get started. And 3 of the most powerful people that opposed the Federal Reserve were on the Titanic when it sank. And there's a lot of meat on that bone, and I wanted to see if I could...
Told you. And there was a video about it. And one of the guys that was going to be on the boat took himself off the boat. That was for the Federal Reserve being made. So the 3 richest men in America sank with the boat. And they were against Federal Reserve being made. And the guy that was going to be on the boat that was for it took himself off at the last minute, like as if he knew something was going to happen.
Could find that evidence for myself instead of just believing a conspiracy theory. Plus, anytime you see the fact checkers come out in droves, you know you're on the right track. But it got me to thinking, where did this term conspiracy theory even come from? Surely it wasn't created by someone like the CIA to discredit people that were seeking the truth and asking questions. I mean, it turns out that believing conspiracy theories is correlated to lower analytical thinking, low intelligence, psychological projection, paranoia, and Machiavellianism. Okay, let's do some lower order thinking. I mean, you could use your dumb ape brain to look up the Pike Committee or the Church Committee, which were both held in the 1970s. They uncovered programs like MK Ultra, where the CIA was trying to learn to mind control people by torturing them and in some cases killing them. American citizens, prisoners, people in mental institutions. Oh, they also uncovered COINTELPRO, where they were infiltrating organizations like the Black Panthers, Martin Luther King, feminist organizations, environmental activism. Oh, and then there was Project Shamrock, where the major telecommunications companies were giving all of our information to this NSA. Yeah, that was long before the Freedom of Information Act. But conspiracy theories are generally designed to resist falsification, like having public congressional hearings where they are exposed to be true. Like in Operation Mockingbird, where the CIA paid journalists to publish fake shit. Like the Gulf of Tonkin, where they used a false flag or fake attack to start a war. Never heard of that before. Or like where they had a fully staged testimony by this gal who was a Kuwaiti girl that witnessed an atrocity that built support for the Persian Gulf War that didn't really happen. I mean, the Persian Gulf War definitely happened. Just ask all those people that made money from it. I mean, conspiracy theorists aren't always right, but when they say something sounds like a false flag, it's probably worth at least doing some due diligence. So if you don't know what COINTELPRO is, today's going to change the way you see the world. It's shortened for Counterintelligence Program, and it's basically a term to refer to intelligence agencies like the FBI, CIA, or foreign ones like for Russia or China, subverting organizations that they feel are subversive. Infiltrating, discrediting, causing division, publishing fake news, fake stories, assassinations, basically any means necessary in modern warfare to undermine organizations. Confirmed list of organizations that were victims of COINTELPRO include feminist organizations, Communist Party USA, Martin Luther King Jr., Nation of Islam, a bunch of leftist organizations up there, but also right organizations like the Ku Klux Klan. Should I say that on TikTok? like the Nationalist States Rights Party. In 1971, the FBI financed and armed a extremist group that they basically used as their secret army to attack other organizations. And this is literally only what's made it onto Wikipedia. You can do your own research. There's a lot more than this. This isn't even talking about the 90s and 2000s. And that's because Hoover totally shut it down once everyone found out. Like, over. Just packed it all up and left. The FBI compiled an entire tape of blackmail on Martin Luther King and sent it to him with a letter that tried to convince him to commit suicide. And that was just a fucking conspiracy theory until some homies broke into an FBI field office and actually took a bunch of documents that showed it was real. Again, that is just the tip of the iceberg here. Blackmail is running our country to this day. Journalists and news agencies have always played a big role in covert intelligence operations against us, the people, often with explicit consent from management of America's leading news organizations. The point of COINTELPRO is to create negative public image for target groups, to break down internal organization by creating conflicts, create dissension between groups, to restrict access to public resources, to restrict their ability to organize, to restrict the ability of individuals to participate by discrediting certain individuals. You starting to make any connections yet to modern day? They infiltrate organizations, and they conduct psychological warfare by publishing false media stories and leaflets under the name of target groups. They spread misinformation about meetings and basically co-opt target groups. Officers of the law give perjured testimony and present fabricated evidence as pretext for false arrests and wrongful imprisonment. They pay for the creation of documentaries that paint groups in negative lights. I'm sure you've seen a few of those. You might have even thought they were real. Let's remember, these guys are really good at what they do. You're playing checkers. They're playing chess. Oh, and sometimes they just stop fucking around and just, get it done. So in light of all of that, let's piss some people off and challenge some people's perceptions. So let's remember that intelligence agencies that are often beyond governmental oversight have decades of experience at infiltrating and subverting dangerous political organizations on both the left and the right. And they do so by a variety of very complex tactics. Now, can you think of anything that might have possibly been done a little better with recent movements by the left? Like maybe a few mistakes were made, maybe a few pallets of bricks left out. I don't know. I'm not claiming I know what goes on. I'm just saying, and all you bozos on the right, I mean, we got lots of different things to choose from, but do some research. And let's be clear, the right to protest is very important. I'm not criticizing either side for protesting for their beliefs. What I'm saying is that in both of these instances, the protests turned into mobs that were then led to do things that discredited their own point and ultimately worked against them in big ways. Not to mention creating a lot of division between the left and right while we were at it. So I'm going to leave you with the breadcrumb that I think leads to the next opening of this big picture. And it's a little complex, so pull out your thinking cap. So in December 2012, the FBI released a bunch of documents because of Freedom of Information Act about how they had been surveilling and using COINTELPRO on Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street was pretty damn peaceful. They weren't a violent threat to anyone. They were a monetary threat. They were people waking up to the corporatocracy that rules this world. And then in 2020, Katie Ryder had a unique visit from a bunch of FBI agents that had information that they only could have gotten in one way. She had discussed a proposed ban on tear gas on a private 90-minute Zoom call with Bayer, the mega corporation that owns Monsanto, and a handful of other staffers. Ryder says the two officers refused to answer any questions about how they had become aware of this private meeting. Who on that call might have maybe had interests aligned with the intelligence agencies? It's not the 1970s anymore. The deep state is very well evidenced, and they've been operating for quite some time outside of public oversight. And the more I utilize my lower order thinking and low intelligence, the more it seems like maybe the people controlling this world aren't actually our elected officials. Maybe there are other alliances more powerful and with more influence than our elected officials. I mean, call me crazy. Who knows? So I never did figure out what the fuck happened to the Titanic, but I'm sure we'll still get to that. And just a disclaimer, TikTok, please don't censor this video. That is all public information, mostly on Wikipedia. It's not a secret. This is definitely not misinformation. And government, CIA, anyone else like that, y'all guys, this is just for educational purposes. I'm not calling for revolution. I'm not calling for violence. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not far right or far left. I'm just some dude trying to read Wikipedia because I didn't pass high school and I'm trying to catch up on my education. Because this all started when...
Now I'm gonna end it here. I got plenty of more videos, but I think this is long enough. I want everybody to know that this whole thing was for entertainment only. There is no religion that I'm trying to push, or a far left or far right in government I'm trying to push, and this is all for entertainment only. And I hope you enjoyed the video. There will be plenty of more. Fallen Angels, subscribe, hit the like button if you like, and write anything in the comment section down below, any way you want me to improve my video, because I will do it. I will do anything you guys ask, because I'm just the talking head. It's your guys' channel. And you're going to see me again. I got more videos, but please send me videos. I'll say it again, to negativecreep504@gmail.com. Those videos that I do use, I will shout you out for sending me those videos. I love you all. You guys are making my channel blow up. I'm getting closer and closer to being able to monetize my channel. And hopefully it can happen soon. I love you guys all, and I'll talk to you later.